What's up, guys? This is Gunnar Gehl, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
This year has been kind of crazy for you.
Yeah.
You recently just wrapped up tour with Prettymuch, which is like a hype right now.
Yeah, it was a blast. I mean, we did 24 cities, 22 shows.
Yeah.
It was the time of my life, and they're all really great guys, and so we all kind of clicked it and
Right.
and had a good time. So, yeah, it was the best. It was one of the best things I've ever done.
Was that one of your like first major tours?
Yeah, that was my first. Seattle was like my first live show that I've ever done. Yeah, so it was kind of like a big. Mom and dad were like biting their nails, and everyone that's kind of been working with me was kind of like, okay, let's see if he can really do it. And so, yeah, we get a blast. We stepped up.
So tell me that first experience. You hit the stage, you see those, because they don't have like 10, 20 fans. They have those shows sell out.
Yeah, Seattle was. It was like one of the smaller size venues, but like it was the first one, so to me, it was huge. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it was like the first show, and it's like 30, 40 minutes before, and I'm like, getting butterflies like pretty bad, and you could hear him kind of going, singing along to songs playing, and I was like, this is actually happening right now, and so, normally towards the end of the tour, like you like walk down to the stage like 1 minute before you're really supposed to go on,
Right.
because you're just used to it. But that first show, I was down there for like 15 minutes before, just like walking around, pacing, like, okay, this is it. And then it was weird, because a couple of the boys told me, they're like, you'll understand when you really do it, because I'm asking a ton of questions at this point. And then like just go like you're lucky that you still have these butterflies, because I remember that first show thing. And so yeah, as soon as I hit the stage and kind of took 2 steps out and where everyone could see me, or where I felt everyone could see me,
Right.
it was like my mind switched over to being scared to like, okay, now it's time to own this
Right.
and do what you do.
Right.
So yeah.
And it's pretty cool that you went out with them. I was actually at their first show.
way.
What was it, last year? Yeah.
Wow.
So I was actually at that, and like they didn't seem like it was a first show.
Yeah. That's the goal. And even on the bad shows too, where like I'll walk off stage, I'll be like, ooh, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
As long as people in the crowd are like, that was, I would have had no idea that you were struggling with that one. Then,
Right.
that's kind of part of our job. Other than singing and performing, it's like,
Yep.
it's a sense of. I guess I wouldn't say acting, because I am having the time of my life when I'm up there. But there are times where you're like, ooh, like I missed that, but you can't let
Right.
people see
You gotta
that.
play it out,
You
yeah.
play it up. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's all easy.
So they kind of took a big chance on you, because you obviously that was your first tour, that was your first show, and on top of that, you only had like one single out.
Yeah.
So how did this kind of happen for you? And like, because that's a big chance to take.
No, I was really lucky. So I met him a year ago from like the second tour date. So it's funny that it kind of worked out like that. But they were opening. Yeah, it was all planned out. They were opening for Khalid on tour, and we have kind of some of the same team members, like their management, and I was like, I went on their bus and hung out with them, and we were all joking around, and Zion looked at my dad and he goes, when we go on our solo tour, Gunnar's gonna come open for us. And so in the moment, like, this is when I'm like, I haven't even really started putting anything out yet. I'm like, okay, I'm like, that would be insane. That's my dream.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then a year later, the opportunity comes up, and it just worked out well with everybody, and our sound was similar, and the fan base was very similar. So
Right.
yeah, the single I actually put out because of the tour. Because we were gonna wait. I wanted to come out. I wanted to come out in the industry with a really, really good song, and kind of put a foothold in strong. But then this tour came out. I was like, okay,
Right.
I have to put something out. So I put out the song Ocean Blue, who hopefully anyone watching this has heard it. But it's just a fun song. It's it's a
Right.
sing-along song that's easy for the crowd to learn. And so yeah, we put that one out, and then we put another one out towards the end of tour, and yeah.
And like as you're touring, you're kind of experiencing, what fans are, or what the audience is gravitating towards. Like, at the same time, you're kind of learning how to own the stage. So does that kind of, when you go back home, tour ends, and you go back home and start writing again, did that kind of like impact the way that you're writing now?
Yeah, most definitely. I would say the biggest thing that I picked up on what everyone was enjoying was the guitar. Anytime I brought a guitar out, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And they just reacted so well. So. And that's always, that was the first musical instrument I ever, picked up.
Right.
I picked a guitar up, and I did that forever. And so, for me, it was like, okay, good.
Right.
I can do this without people being, like not enjoying it that much. So,
Right.
so this past week after tour, I implemented a lot more guitar into my stuff and was like, everything that we're gonna do is gonna have, live and real elements, like drums and live guitar, and so even a pop song that you would, be like, this is a standard pop song. The littlest things like adding a guitar and live bass and live drums, it just makes it feel more real, and that's what I'm all about,
Nice. Now you were talking earlier, like you were just doing some writing sessions. Tennessee was Nashville was one of them. Was it Chad Carlson again?
It was not this time, unfortunately, but we wrote like some really good songs. I think we wrote 3 in like a 4-day period, which is crazy, like top to bottom finish. And I really think one of them is gonna be, the one.
Right. So when you sat down with Chad, I mean, that guy has a big list under him, but when you sat down with him to write that first track, how do you feel like that track kind of like evolved as you guys started to collaborate together? Yeah,
so that's a song called Discreet, which you guys will hear probably in the next couple months. So we sat down with him and this amazing songwriter, Victoria Shaw, who's written a ton of big things, and so it was like a really good team that we had at the moment for the session, and so we just discussed. She's like, what do you want to write about? And I was kind of going through this relationship thing at the time, and I was just it wasn't even, she didn't even say, what do you want to write about? She was like, tell me what's going on in your life. So we started going into this thing.
Time to get deep.
Yeah, no, seriously. And like, I didn't really realize what was going on, because I was still pretty fresh in the songwriting, whatever. I didn't really realize what was going on. And then, I was telling the story about what was happening. She's like, okay, great. She's like, so, Chad was starting to play a little guitar, and we were kind of like, okay, that's cool, that works, that doesn't. And then Victoria was kind of like singing exactly what I was just saying, And to me, it was like the first time that I've heard a song that was like, we wrote a lot of it together, but she came out of the gates basically with like 2 exact sentences of what I had said when I was telling her the story, and I was like, wow, you can turn that into a song, and it works, and that's a really good song. So,
that's crazy.
But Chad's amazing. He's really dope.
As you move forward and you're doing your own writing, how did that kind of impact you when you're writing by yourself?
Yeah, I learned a ton, starting to write songs, because you just learn about, there's so many different methods of doing it. Some people start with lyrics first, some people start with melodies first, whatever it be. And so I've been figuring out, I like the way that this person does this and the way that this person does this, and I'm funny. I only write songs in like the late night, because like when I get my feels going, you know what I mean.
When it all starts.
That's so it usually is like late at night, and I kind of think about what do I want to say, and then try to say it a different way.
Right.
So, yeah, it's kind of weird and hard to explain, but instead of telling exactly what is happening or like what the story's about, finding little ways to like say it without saying it, and I think actually Drake does a really good job at that, and that's something that I've learned just from listening to him as a lyricist itself.
I think in doing so, it gives the opportunity for the audience to make their own kind of assumption of what the song is, or have like a similar feeling towards it.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest things when it comes to songwriting, is saying, here's something that means a lot to me. How can I make it mean something to you, and how can I say exactly what I'm talking about, but have other people be able to feel like it's a different story, for themselves. Right. So yeah, that's the way I like to write.
Now, as you're creating music and you're kind of getting your feet wet with touring and all of this exposure that's coming your way, like, what has been the biggest challenge so far for you?
Ooh, the biggest challenge is probably just like slow down, because I'm always thinking about well, what's after this? What's gonna happen after tour? Or what if this doesn't work on tour? And I just needed to learn, like, take a deep breath, like trust the people around you, and yeah, just chill out, because everything's gonna happen and gonna happen for a reason, and so
it's gonna happen when it needs to happen.
Exactly.
So for those fans that are not familiar with you, why do you create music? What is music? What does music mean to you?
Music means to me, everything. It's the way from a childhood that I kind of grew up. Like you go through. I mean, I think this is for everyone. You go through phases where, you listen to all different types of music, and then you kind of figure out what you like and whatnot. And even through a day, if you go through, you wake up and you're in a really good mood and you're listening to happy music and vibing. And then, as the day goes on, if something happens, you get sad, like you kind of listen to sad music. And so, if something like that, something that simple, a song can change an emotion or help somebody in any way, that's why I'd hope that a lot of people do it, and of course for themselves. I think the number one reason that we all got into this is for ourselves.
Right.
It makes me feel a certain way, and so taking that feeling and saying, I want to have that feeling for other people as well.
Nice, dude. Well, again, thanks for hanging out with me. You guys be sure to check out Gunnar Gehl. New single's out now. It's called
Out of My Mind.
Hey, and thanks for watching on Front Row Live.